Now, I would like to request today's keynote speaker, Dr. Dipankar Manna, to deliver his talk on topic COVID-19 vaccine, a modern medical miracle. Dr. Manna did his master in biotechnology. He completed his PhD on protein biochemistry and structural biology from Department of Chemistry, University of Oslo. He did his postdoctoral research in Department of Molecular Medicine, University of Oslo. Recently, he working as a research scientist in the same university. He published many research publications in reputed international journals. Dr. Manna, now you can start.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so let me share my screen. Enter screen. Now, can you see my full screen?
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
Okay. So thank you. So thank you very much, first of all, to invite me to this kind of seminar on this particular pandemic, which is really a need of an hour, I would say. And thank you, my friend Rituparna, for giving me a very kind introduction. And I'm really pleased that, like my former speaker, Dr. Simanto Das, he actually mentioned a lot of things about the medical purpose, because he probably might be looking at the patients on a regular basis. And he clearly mentioned about the pathogenic infection and their roles and how could we control that, and what kind of the medicines are available, and and what are the research he actually touched upon. And now I think my talk will be very much as a complement, just a follow-up of whatever Dr. Das has mentioned. So I'll be talking about this vaccine. Many of you already know about the vaccines. I think we have almost a very clear idea about how vaccines, what kind of vaccines are available. So I'll just try to touch upon, and I have given the title of my talk, COVID vaccine, a modern miracle, a modern medical miracle. Why I would just come to that point. Okay, so first we are talking about this particular virus called coronavirus. Actually, this coronavirus is not a new one. The first coronavirus infection has been detected in early 1920s in Bharat. And then the human infection was detected in the year of 1960s, actually. And then actually from then there are actually number of these coronaviruses that actually infect human. So from the beginning, actually, we are very familiar to look at this kind of very beautiful or attractive pictures. Those are the graphic pictures, so that could be understandable for the common people. And also at the same time, we saw some other kind of pictures like a cartoon, so that it would be to give a message to the people that, okay, this is not a deadly one, we can beat them. So there are so many cartoons. While this is the real picture that is published in the middle of January from NIH, that is the first structure, the microscopic structure of this particular coronavirus. And based on this particular structure, all other this attractive or good looking, easy understandable virus structures had been drawn. So as I mentioned, this coronavirus, now the pandemic, what is happening, named as SARS-CoV-2, severe respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. This is the 7th virus that actually infects human beings. Before that, there are actually all the 6 viruses, but this first 4, I'm not going into the detail on that. First 4, they can infect human, but they hardly have any illness on us. While in around 2002, we heard about the infection SARS-CoV, also known as SARS-CoV-1, and in 2012, we actually experienced the infection of MERS-CoV-2. And here now we are in 2019, we heard about this SARS-CoV-2. And as Dr. Das already mentioned about this kind of this medical treatment options, transmissibility, I'm not going into that. I'll just jump into that scientific part actually. What is exactly happening in the development of vaccines or other antiviral drugs, or even like the monoclonal antibodies, or even the repurposed drug, those are already present in use for other diseases, whether that can be used for this particular infection. So actually the scientific fight started in early January 2020, on 10th of January, when the whole viral genome of this particular SARS-CoV-2 was published by a Chinese group. Actually, this is the real, like a very remarkable part, because nowadays the technology is at that level that you don't have to do anything actually. Like if you have the access to a particular database, you can plan your experiment. And then they actually reported that this particular gene has a similarity with like a bad SARS-CoV of 88%, whereas the SARS-CoV or the one with 79% and MERS with 50%. And this kind of information is really, really important to develop a vaccine or antiviral drug or any other kind of therapy, because nowadays, if you know about the gene, we can actually predict their function as well. Now coming to the vaccine development strategies, actually vaccines are made in two strategic ways. One is the conventional approach, where like also called as the traditional approach, and another one is the novel approach. But this time I'm talking only on this particular SARS-CoV-2, but these approaches are applicable for all the vaccines that can be made against whatever the pathogenic organism. So in the conventional approach, we usually can do like the whole virus. We can take advantage of this virus. Either we can inactivate the virus or attenuate the virus, means like killing its like the lethal property or like the pathogenic property, or we can take the virus-like particle, or even just take the protein, and then that we can be actually formulate in terms like as a vaccine. And also on the other hand, this novel approach, which is really very remarkable, and that is the why I have given the name of my talk as like the magic medical miracle. Here we can have two different kind of vaccines like this DNA vaccines, either taking a DNA, and in this case SARS-CoV-2, the main target, like the majority of the vaccine target is the spike protein that actually help attachment to our cells so that it can get into and then infect our cells. So that can be either DNA vaccine or an mRNA vaccine, or like that can also be introduced in a particular vector which is non-infectious to us, and that can go and do their role. And this is, okay, this looks a little bit complicated, just to make it simplify. First, the genome sequence come out, and then just at the end of February 2020, the first structure of that particular spike protein come. Because like for the drug discovery or the vaccine design or the development, a structure is very, very important. And actually, I am basically expertise with this particular part to look at the protein about the structure basis, so that get some information that can be used for the drug discovery or a vaccine development. So this is the first structure came, we give lots of information, and followed by another one, protease, just in the middle of March. Another one came, and that actually become very, very special for all the vaccine developers in the world. And that really helped a lot. And this is one of the main reasons that we got this particular SARS-CoV-2 vaccine so early. And I will also discuss that in later on my talk. Now, this vaccine development time, usually the vaccine development takes years. Like here, I have just given a couple of names, like chicken pox or smallpox. It took 34 years to develop, like from the laboratory to the human application. Well, influenza, it took around 28 years, but still we are struggling to get the best one out of it. And human papillomavirus, 15 years, measles, 9 years, and polio, 7 years, while the mumps is the shortest. As of now, before the SARS-CoV-2 virus came, it was developed in 4 years. While the SARS-CoV-2, initial plan was to get the vaccine within 1.5 years, means 18 months. But we are so lucky, and because of the technology and the tremendous scientific collaboration among groups, among countries, that make it possible so that we actually got this vaccine just in 11 months, and that is remarkable. And that is following the new technology, that is the novel technology. And here there are several types of vaccines can be developed, but this is not only for this particular SARS-CoV-2, like any other infection, for any other vaccine. These are the common, and the highlighted one that I will be talking about only this particular 4 type of vaccine, which is now like the talking point during this pandemic. First, I will come to the inactivated vaccine, how that can be grown. Like one example is our Indian vaccine that is called Covaxin by Bharat Biotech. So here what happened, as I mentioned earlier, like most of the vaccines, they are targeting this spike protein, which is required for the attachment. So they actually inactivated by some chemical so that the gene part will be inactivated. When it will be going in, they cannot actually infect or multiply, but still our immunity, our immunocells, they can detect them and make the antibody. And when that could be done, then actually our body has been injected with this vaccine, and our immune system will actually respond to that and then develop a lot of like these antibodies so that they can fight. And as also, I'll also agree with Dr. Das that he mentioned that this vaccine is a prevention. It's not a cure, it's a prevention, because if one person is infected, the vaccine cannot do anything because it has to be protected, and it is the drug or the medicine that actually cures the disease. And then the protein subunit vaccine. Similarly, in case of here, actually, again, this spike protein, they are taking the gene and then cloning into some other organism, let's say bacteria or insect cells or mammalian cells, to grow them like in a different way, and then in a large scale, and then they formulate it and put that protein vaccine, that spike protein, to get into our body, and so that in response to that, our immune system again grow the antibody and they will fight against them. And one of the companies just recently, they got a very nice third phase trial, and they are under approval, Novavax. And then now this is really the main important point for this SARS-CoV-2, the mRNA and the DNA vaccine. Here what happened? Again, this spike protein, they are just taking the mRNA here, like the mRNA, and then they are actually formulating inside a lipid coating, and then it can go into our body by injection. Now the question might come, why we need this kind of coating? This is very simple. For example, if you are ordering something, let's say ordering a mobile phone from Amazon or Flipkart, usually they came with a well-packed. Why? Because from the warehouse to the customer, it should be reached a very protected way. And the same way, mRNA is very, very sensitive, because if we inject it, it will immediately destroy everything. Like all the mRNA will be destroyed by our immunocells. So that could be well protected so that it reach to the immunocells in a particular way. So, and that is called the vaccine formulation, and then will be injected, and then we will develop some antibody that can fight against this particular virus. And as of now, Moderna and Pfizer, they are the two vaccines, they are actually developed with this particular technology, mRNA technology. And then the DNA, like similarly, same, but instead of spike protein, like mRNA here, they are just taking a DNA part, which is responsible for this spike protein expression. And then that has been introduced in a particular vector, and then the people will be getting injected, and this will develop antibodies in our body that could fight our future infection. And the major companies are working with this DNA technology is AstraZeneca and Oxford, Janssen, a part of Johnson & Johnson, and the Sputnik V as well. Now, just to have a timeline, as I mentioned briefly, like in general, it takes 10 to 15 years to 20 years to develop a particular vaccine at an average, if we consider all the vaccines. And there are important stages, like the first step, that the exploratory means the laboratory scale. We have to check whether the things are working well or not. If we get the success in the laboratory, then it will go to preclinical, means like animal trial, mouse, rabbit, or maybe some other animals. We have to test that, like whether it is working or not. If it goes successful, then we have to apply for a clinical trial on human. Okay, 1, 2, 3, which I'm coming next. And then if it is successful in the clinical trial, then we have to send it for the approval so that we can market it and then use it to the people. And then with approval gone, like the done, then the company will be manufacturing in a big way. But on the world, they took a huge risk of like a huge gamble. They actually make the trial like at the same time, and they have manufactured a lot. But if it doesn't work, it would have been a huge loss for the company. But anyway, they actually got a lot of fundings, like the private fundings, government funding, and which is really good. Finally, good that it worked. And then just to mention about like this, how this clinical trial occurs, because this clinical trial is really important before we inject like into the human to actually as a prevention of this particular virus or even any virus. And like there are around more than 90% of the drug or vaccine, they actually fail from animal model to the human clinical trial. Like in the phase 1, as we many of us already know about this terminology, phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the phase 1 trial, just like around 100 or few hundreds participants, just to check that whether the vaccine is safe or not. Like whenever we're injecting, they are developing some kind of a weird side effects or like malfunctioning or not. If it is good, then we will go for the next 2, like phase 2. Here actually a couple of 100 people we are recruiting to test the same vaccine, but not with the same people sometimes, but mostly the other population. Here actually we do safety and the dosing, like what could be the dose that can be effective. And then we'll go for the third phase, which is larger, like the couple of thousands. Like as we know, like all this available vaccine, they go like 30 to 50,000 people they included actually in this trial to check the final safety and the efficacy as well. And when it goes well, then the drug will be getting approval. But that is not the end of the process. Still, like the phase 4, like the post-approval, the random study will be also going on. Like if some of the side effects come, immediately that vaccine could be stopped anytime. But as of now, with COVID, we have actually very good news that they are working really very well. Now, coming back to this COVID treatment options, like what actually the options are available for us till now. So far, there is no drug available to cure COVID because drug development takes a lot more time than developing a vaccine. So we know the term like the repurposed drug, like the few drugs, they're already available and we know the safety profile, then we can use it. Like several, like the Ebola drug called remdesivir, HIV drug, ritonavir or ritonavir in combination, malaria drug, hydroxychloroquine, but most of these drugs, they have actually failed miserably, while some of them, they have been still in use, but with very specific conditions, not for all the patients. So not only these few drugs, there are more than 70 different drugs that have been under trial to check if that can actually help for fighting this particular disease. And yeah, and then we have also other antibodies therapy, like which is monoclonal antibody synthesized or like designed in any way, but that also we didn't get that much success as well. And the third option, we have the vaccines, and really like the vaccines are still under development, but good that at least we have some vaccines at least in our hand. So now, what could be the next option for us? this is a very good news. Like as of 24th June 2021, like until yesterday, there are around these 8 vaccines worldwide, and this data I'm showing that is the worldwide data, and then I will specifically come for the Indian data. So there are 8 vaccines that is in the approved, but not fully approved, that is approved for the emergency use. And 8 others, they are authorized, limited use, or still in the process. And while all others, like 50 of them in the phase 1, 37 phase 2, 32 phase 3 clinical trials. So they will be coming in months. And while just have a clear overview, like the worldwide total actually 833 different drug or vaccine molecule are under research now. And out of them, around 225 are the vaccine candidates, and 241 is antiviral drug. And while others 370, they're like antibodies, like, or some of the stuff. So this is a very, very interesting data. And this is just like in 1.5 years, we managed to reach this level. So you can imagine how the technology is developing every day, every moment. And now I talk about like what are the vaccine available till date worldwide. There is a Pfizer vaccine, Pfizer and Biotech in collaboration, and there is a Moderna vaccine, which mRNA. Oxford-AstraZenica in Indian brand is called as Covishield, where the worldwide other brand called as Vaxzevria, like same vaccine, no different, just the brand name. Then Janssen, which is also a DNA vaccine, and our Indian based Bharat Biotech company Covaxin, and the Russian vaccine Sputnik V or Sputnik Light, and the 2 of the Chinese vaccines, Sinovac and CanSino Biologics. They are under use now. And I will be talking mainly about these 3 vaccines because these 3 vaccines are available in India right now, but maybe in future there will be more that I can expect. So the one of the biggest vaccine and the most popular vaccine in India is by Oxford-AstraZeneca called Covishield. And this is the lady, Sarah Gilbert. She is the pioneer behind this particular vaccine when she was working in Oxford Institute, Jenner Institute. She actually developed this particular DNA vaccine and all this idea. And here also they targeted this particular spike protein. They took the DNA and then actually made the vaccine. But also like this vaccine development is like one particular company cannot actually make the whole process. They need to having more people, more collaboration, company, like a research institute or whatever. So they actually collaborated with our Indian pharma company, Serum Institute of India, and also to mention here, India is the biggest producer of vaccine in the world. We actually produce almost 60% of the global vaccine we produced in India. And this particular vaccine has an efficacy of 90%, while 10% it can affect against the South African variant. This is a double dose vaccine that as per the new recommendation, it can be taken the second dose in 10 to 16 weeks interval. And this vaccine is approved in 98 different countries, while this Covishield is approved in more than 40 countries worldwide. Next, I'll talk about the Bharat Biotech Covaxin, which is in collaboration with our ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research. This is an inactivated. This is an inactivated vaccine, actually, like the whole cell vaccine, and this has a efficacy of 81%, and this has some kind of effect against the South African variant, but unfortunately, there is no published data available for that. So that's why there might be some sort of controversy within this vaccine. And it also has a double dose within 4 to 6 weeks apart, and this vaccine is approved in 9 different countries. Then coming to the Sputnik vaccine, the Russian one, Sputnik V, and actually our Indian company, pharmaceutical company, Dr. Reddy's, they have a tie up with this Sputnik V so that that can be produced in India, and already it's in the rolled out to the market. And this is also the DNA vaccine similar as the AstraZeneca vaccine Covishield. And it has an efficacy of 92%, while it's also can act against the South African variant. It is also a double dose vaccine in a gap of 3 weeks, and it approved in around 68 countries. But one interesting thing with this Sputnik V vaccine that these 2 doses are actually separate. But while all other vaccines, those are the 2 doses, they are the same vaccine, they just given twice. First dose and the second dose, same vaccine. While the Sputnik V, actually, the 2 doses are different. First dose and the second dose are different. And also to mention, like the other vaccines, Pfizer and BioNTech, the mRNA vaccine, it has efficacy of 95%, and it is effective to some extent for South African and the Brazil variant, while the Moderna, another one mRNA vaccine, 94% with some effectivity against the UK and South African variant, and like recently Johnson & Johnson vaccine, 84% efficacy and can have effect on South African and the Brazil variant as well. And this is the protein subunit vaccine, Novavax. It has the highest, like 96% effectivity, and can fight against South Africa and the UK variant as well. So till yesterday, total vaccination in the worldwide is around 2.8 billion dose has been done in the world, while India has around 300 million, means like around 31 crore. But the good news is that there are many more to come. So we have to keep our hope on, like the several other vaccines are coming in the market. And now I'll be coming to the Indian vaccination drive, because this is one of the biggest vaccine drive in the world. Till today, these are the 3 vaccines that are available in India: Covishield, Sputnik V, and the Covaxin. And if we have the data from the Indian government, like how much the vaccination we have done, the red line actually, initially it was slow for the preparation, but now like we are really like going peak, and especially last few days, we are really doing extremely well. Like we had done around 9 million a day, so around 90 lakhs. While this yellow is the first dose and the second dose, which is really, really very good, I would say. And now comparing to this Covishield and the Covaxin, this we have given more on the Covishield vaccine than the Covaxin, while the Sputnik V's number is low because it just started. And this is the male-female, like the male actually got a little bit higher number than the female, because there are reasons, like most of our frontline workers, they are males actually in number more, so that's why this number goes a little bit up. And now this is very interesting part actually. This is very, very good slide, I would say. These are the 3 vaccines, and Indian government, like actually they have the total capacity of this Covishield 840 million, while our government already has ordered 750 million dosage. While Covaxin 700 million their capacity, India has already ordered 550, and the Sputnik V, they have a capacity of 140 million, but our government has ordered more. So now you can feel that, okay, we are really going well in this part to get more vaccination. But of course, vaccination is time-taking process, and India, we have 1.4 billion people, and obviously it will take more time, and the availability of the vaccine is also not to be ignored. Why? This is very interesting paper actually, because now India and the global, they are having a very, very interested on this particular variant, which is called as the Delta variant and the Delta Plus, which is called, earlier it was called as the Indian variant because it was first isolated in India. One recent small studies in UK, they have published like on 17th of June that the AstraZeneca vaccine and the Pfizer vaccine, they have a good capability fighting against this particular Delta and the Delta Plus. variant. And in India, actually, we have mostly using this AstraZeneca vaccine, which is really good.
Sir, your mic is mute.
Dipankar, please unmute your.
I'm sorry, it was done automatically, maybe by some reason. Anyway, can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
But there is some problem, but I cannot make the full screen. Can you see the full screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, it's not. Full screen is not coming, but it's visible.
Okay. I don't know why it's, but I need to get it in the full screen. Just a second. Oh, I'm sorry for the problem. Just a second.
Sir, a button is there in the bottom right, lower right. So you just have to click it. It will be in full screen.
I think it's done, right? Yeah. Okay. So now I just reshare. Okay. So these are the status of the vaccines we have, and like as I was talking about, this particular vaccine AstraZeneca is really having a good effect. But even though the study is really very small, but obviously some more study are expected to come in future, in few days, probably maybe in few weeks. And also Pfizer vaccine, we are also in a process, and hopefully in a couple of weeks that will also start rolling out in India. So yeah, that's a very good news actually. And also like other Indian vaccines on the race, like these, because there are several other Indian vaccines are on the developmental stage, while these four I found, I just put it here because they are very close. Like this is ZyCoV-D from the Zydus, it's a DNA vaccine similar as AstraZeneca and Sputnik V. They are in the phase 3 trial. Hopefully they will be soon applying for the approval after checking the data. And also another one from Biological E. It's a protein subunit vaccine similar as Novavax. It's also under phase 3 trial. And another one, RNA vaccine like Moderna and Pfizer, it's from a company Genova, which is in the phase 1 trial. And Bharat Biotech, they are having another one vaccine, which is a DNA vaccine. They are also under the phase 1 trial. And this is not the end. There are several other vaccines are on the list, which we are hopefully to get in future. So the take-home messages are: get vaccinated whenever you get the opportunity, and don't think about which one to get, because majority of the vaccines, they are almost very similar. Like the differences are not that big actually. So get vaccine whatever is available, whatever is offered to you. And also, this is very important, use mask regularly, and please use the mask as it should be, like use it very properly, not like to show that you have mask. No, that is not the thing. You have to wear the mask, not you have to carry the mask. Then keep social distancing, because that really helps a lot. If you are distant, like maintaining a good distance, like first thing, you are safe and you can help other, you can contribute to the society as well. And maintain hygiene as much as possible, like washing your hand, like taking care of all other hygiene parts, like even though if your sanitized alcohol-based sanitizer is not available, just simple use whatever the soap is available at your home. That can equally kill the virus and very effectively. So just use that. And this is most important. Don't believe in Facebook and WhatsApp University, because nowadays there are a lot of misinformation, and that actually make this COVID fight very, very like much more complicated, I would say. So be careful. Nowadays, like most of us have the smartphone. Actually, whenever you are getting some information, just check that in Google. That every information you will find it from Google. Even though like there are a lot more like talks on the vaccines, the vaccine is bad or this, blah, blah, blah. Just you go and check there. Check in the Google. Check for most of the like the science article or like some news portal, they actually talk about science, because there you will get more reliable information. And this media actually mostly, they actually like overemphasize the thing, because just as their marketing policy. So don't believe on that. Rather, whenever, if you're watching the news, listen to those people in the panels, like the scientists, doctors, listen to their views. Get attention to them, not in this kind of a false information, because that will make it much more complicated in future. So with this, I would like to thank you all for listening, and thanks again the organization, like the organizing committee, to organize such a beautiful event. And this is again, like, this is really the need of the hour. So thank you all, and then we can take the question if you have afterwards.